Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. We're back again with more Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, and this time I thought it'd be interesting to do a ranking of all the acts in the game. I recently got to Act 4 in my Lich playthrough on the channel, and it reminded me how I feel about that act and got me thinking about what I feel about some of the other acts in the game as well. So I thought it might be interesting to open up this discussion and see how you all feel about the acts as well. Keep in mind, I feel like Pathfinder is an absolutely fantastic experience and that all the acts have something positive to offer. So if I rank an act low, it's not that I feel like you're going to have a terrible time with it. It's just in comparison with the other acts the game has to offer, I don't feel like this particular one measures up. I'm going to throw up some footage for you all to watch while I talk, because to avoid spoilers, I'm not going to be showing video footage of each act as I talk through them. This will be a spoiler-free ranking. And with that, let's go ahead and dive in. All the way at the bottom, number 6, for me is Act 6. Not a fan. First and foremost, it's not long enough to be considered a true act. It's definitely shorter than all of the other ones. And I personally do not like it. When a game knows you're at max level, you're an absolute boss, you're steamrolling everything that you come across, and then for the final level, they throw a whole bunch of fights at you that they know you're going to easily get through anyway, just to waste a bunch of your time and make it longer for you to get through the level. Either give me some real bosses that are really going to challenge me and force me to think in order to reach the final boss, or just let me go ahead and reach the final boss and get this over with. I do not like feeling in a game like my time is being wasted, and for a large portion of Act 6, that's kind of the way that I feel. Then at number 5, I put Act 2. First and foremost, Act 2 feels like you're kind of in limbo. You're not quite the commander of the entire Crusade, but you're not a nobody either. In this game, the early levels, you definitely feel weak compared to a lot of the enemies that you face, and I don't particularly like that. I also don't like it when you know there are more party members for you to get, but the game makes you wait a long time before you have your full roster. And so I don't like, that's a knock really I have against both Act 1 and Act 2. I don't understand why more games don't front load with your party members up front. Like, we know by now, if you have to wait a whole bunch of time before you get a party member, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to use that person. So I don't understand why we still have these games where you can get halfway through the game and then they'll just dump a new party member on you. But Act 2, you still do not have your full roster. You also do not have full access to the Crusade system. So there's really 2 parts to the Crusade. One, you have the army battles that you do on the global map, and then you also have the war table where you're making decisions. You don't get access to the war table until Act 3. And in my opinion, that is a much better draw for the Crusade system. Those conversations and the decisions that you can make, the army battles that you do on the global map, to me, they kind of get old quick. And that's all you're dealing with in Act 2. So I'm not particularly a big fan of it. At number 3, we have Act 1. I do feel like Act 1 does an absolutely fantastic job of setting up the game and drawing you into the intrigue and make you interested in finding out what's going to happen next. But just like Act 2, it's got too few party members. There's a big battle that can happen in Act 1 that I'm not a particularly big fan of, again, because you do feel weak in those early levels. And you do not have access to all your party members, so you can't even get the actual squad that you really want. And honestly, I don't like the way the game locks you into 2 mythic paths. So everyone who plays the game, no matter what decisions you make, you will have the option of choosing at least the angel or the demon mythic path. And I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of that. I would prefer that they set it up where you had to make a choice. Feels very, very odd playing a pure evil character that has access to the angel mythic path and can do these angel mythic dialogues and things of that nature. I would prefer early on that they go ahead and allow you to truly distinguish your character and make a choice about what it is that you want to do. And so because of all of that, even though Act 1 is an absolutely fantastic setup for the overall game, it's not one of the acts that is high up on my list. And then at number 3, we have Act 3. Act 3 is by far the meatiest part of the game, so with all of that content, it's definitely hard not to like it. It gets a lot of the wheels turning. You get to start a lot of the party member quest. You start on the mythic quest for whatever mythic path you have selected, and I definitely feel like the mythic paths are a huge strength of this game. You get the vast majority of party members that you can have access to, so more than likely you'll be able to hammer out the exact squad you want to go through the game with, and you get to really carve out who your character is based on a ton of different decisions and things that you can do throughout this act. So I really enjoy that process. I feel like there's a lot of role-playing content you can get through here, and so I'm definitely a fan of it. At number 2 on my list is Act 5. In Act 5, I love it because by this point you're borderline unstoppable. So it's really nice when the tough bosses are thrown at you and you're still basically finding ways to steamroll them with your absolutely fantastic mythic path powers. It ties up all of the loose threads. So I've definitely played games before where they set up these mysteries or quest lines you're supposed to follow, and then at the end of the game, you don't feel like they're properly wrapped up. Don't feel that way about Pathfinder at all. You may not like the way a particular mystery or quest line is finished, but it definitely does, in my opinion, tie up all the loose threads. And so I really enjoy that aspect of Act 5, being able to go through all the party member quests and some of the threads that were dangling from previous acts and get those all wrapped up before you head into the final area. I also like the Crusade content that's in Act 5, both from the war table standpoint, as far as the issues that are presented to you that you have to make decisions about, and even on the global map, the battles that you have to face are much tougher than what you experience in Act 3. So if you've done your due diligence to make sure the army is set up properly, you're rewarded by being able to get through some really tough fights without having too many scratches on you. And so I like that feeling of, hey, I know I did this right because I'm able to go into these battles that are sometimes higher level than what the army that I have and still be able to finish them successfully. And then finally, me personally, the act that I like the most is the act that I just entered into for my Lich playthrough, Act 4. For me, in RPGs, I'm all about the hub. I love going into a city full of people, full of life, and running around, getting all of their quests, learning about how they live, learning the culture, and just immersing myself into this new environment. And to me, what you experience in Act 4 is the true hub of the game. I know the developers kind of try to present Dresden as the hub, but I don't feel that way because Dresden is only set up because of you. So it's not like there was life beforehand. It's not like, hey, we've been doing this for dozens of years before you ever got here, and we'll continue doing what we've been doing long after you move on. You know, it's basically only exists because of your presence. And so it doesn't give me that hub feel like, you know, Novigrad in The Witcher or the Citadel in Mass Effect. It doesn't give me that same feel. Whereas Act 4 absolutely gives me that true hub feel of running around, talking to a whole bunch of different people who oftentimes do not give a damn about me or anything going on with me, and just immersing myself in this new environment, this new culture. I just think it's all fantastic. There's a ton of great fights. You learn a lot of secrets in the game and learn more about the major villains in the game. There are fantastic weapons and equipment that you can pick up if you take the extra time to go through some of the nooks and crannies. It's just awesome. Awesome all the way around. I think they did a fantastic job with Act 4, and it is my favorite act in the game. So that is my list. Let me know down in the comments, what is your personal ranking? Which act appeals to you the most, and which one do you feel like Owlcat should have went back to the drawing board on this? Looking forward to hearing your feedback, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like down below, share this content, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.